Hello everyone, this is Raviteja Charakulla. I'm the authorized training partner for PMI CP course. In this video, I will cover the entire summary of PMI CP course. So before getting deep dive into this topic, so the first thing I would like to explain the exam pattern. This exam, which consists of 120 questions, and you have like 4 hours to finish this exam. And these are the core domains which are covered in the PMI CP exam. So if you look at the screen and if you look at this PMI document, so these are the four core domains you have to prepare. You have to be prepared for the exam. So the first one, it's like a contract management, and it has like a 50% of questions. And the second domain, it's like a stakeholder engagement, and it has like a 30% of the questions you get it from the exam. And strategy and scope management, it's like 15%, and the project governance, it's like 5%. So the first topic I would like to start, it's like a project interface management. So let's get overview of project interface management. If you look at the interface management, so the main definition, it's like the interface management is the appropriate management of communication, relationship, and deliverables among two or more interface stakeholder. So the effective IM is integral to the project success. The main objective of to create the awareness and effective management of potential risk. These are the following implementations of IM systems, like the common goals and processes, effective communication, improved oversight, timely resolution of the conflicts that will turn improve project performance. So it has like a six topics which are covered in this, like the interface management in built environmental projects, interventions to the project lifecycle, attributes for the good interface, interface management tools and design processes, how to effectively manage interfaces, capabilities needed for interface management. So the first topic, it's like the interface management in the built environmental projects. The interface management, it's like the management of communication, relationship, and deliverables among two or more interface stakeholders. So the research conducted that the interface management implementation, which increases the stakeholder alignment, the facilitate the communication across the projects, which improves the real-time visibilities and proactively mitigate the risk. And here, and this is also an important thing. For the smaller projects, we can use to we can manage the interface management by using like a Microsoft Excel or the spreadsheets. And for the complex projects, it requires like more tools and techniques to manage the interface management process. This is like a kind of a controlled communication environment where any discussions among the vendors can be documented and assessed. By implementing these tools and processes, so we can able to ensure all parties are receiving the information, and also it creates a bridge between various participants and involving in the execution of the project. And these are the tool ensuring by following the tools and processes, like by consistent identification of critical interfaces, streamline communication, and monitoring of ongoing work progress while mitigating risk. These are the common languages and definitions. The interface management. The interface management, it's like the management of communication, relationship, and deliverables among two or more interface stakeholders. So who is the interface stakeholder? The interface stakeholder, it's like the stakeholder group or any organization involving in formal interface management agreement within IM plan for a project. What is internal interfaces? These are identified within a single scope of work. What is external interfaces? These are identified between two or more scopes of work. What is interface point? Like it's like a transferring the responsibilities from one interface stakeholder to another interface stakeholder. Like it can be the hard interfaces or like a soft interfaces. And what is interface register? The interface register, it's like a kind of a centralized repository of interface data, which are available for the users to locate worldwide. And what is interface agreement? Like it's like a kind of a formal and documented communication between two interface stakeholder regarding an interface point, which contain deliverable descriptions, due date, and required actions. What is interface action items? The task or any activities which are performed to provide deliverables defined and agreed upon each interface agreement. So what is ICD? So it's like a document which is identified and capture interface information and approve interface change requests. So this is the overall table. So let's see if you see like the hierarchy, like the interface stakeholder, which has like interface points, and each interface point has an interface agreement, and each interface agreement has an interface action item, and for the each interface action item, the overall the storage of the documents, it's like a ICD. So the major part of communication takes place between the stakeholder within the scope of projects, like they are classified into the intra-project interfaces, so the intra-project interfaces, and the extra-project interfaces. And what are the key benefits of effective IM implementations? By implementing, these are the few benefits you can see by doing an effective IM implementation, like by increasing the stakeholder alignment and facilitated communication across the project. It improves the real-time visibility and oversight, and also it proactively mitigate the risk. And the common thing you have to remember, so whenever these interfaces should be identified very early, and especially during the front-end planning phases. So we can go much deeper on the topics of the front-end planning and the different stages. So this is the first topic. So and the second topic we are going to do, it's like a interventions throughout the project life cycle. So here you can see the success factors. The project success depends on how well the deliverables are defined, which is the first and foremost. Whether the roles, responsibilities, and project accountables are detailed and unambiguous, enabling information flow that are clear and timely to ensure that all teams are fully understand project milestone and deadlines. And the project-specific IM aspects to review and agree on, including the interface identification and assign deliverables per interface. Definition of interface-specific roles and responsibilities, IM process, and information flow definition. Effective cross-party IM communication and coordination mechanism design. Progress reporting, and also like the agreement of scheduling for interface request, issue resolution, and closeout. And what are the common IM risk and issues? These are the few common factors like with the IM risk and issues, like there is an existence of numerous suppliers and subcontractors, and there is a lack of previous experience collaborating with one or more contractors. And you can see like a poor definition of project interface and lack of communication and coordination between project parties, and poorly defined requirements or responsibilities of the involved parties, inefficient decision-making process, mismanagement of responsibilities, poorly defined scope, schedule overruns, cost escalation and overruns, external constraints and dependencies, including regulation, permits, and bureaucracy. And this is the most important thing, like the interface maturity model. So because the CIA has conducted like the extensive research on how to develop and implement a structured approach for building environmental project. Like this is the maturity model which you can use it for your projects, like by developing like a few factors, like the enabling tools and systems, qualified people and practitioners, sustaining cultures, and business process. So if you see the business process, like the way in which the IM is implemented on the project, and it's documented in the company or like a project level processes and procedures, and tools and systems like that suppose the IM process implemented on a project, like the qualified people and practitioners, like the skill and experience who utilize the works to process and which creates an effective IM environment on the project, and sustaining culture, like establishing IM as a routine part of organization project execution practice. So, and also as per the CII, there are like a two types of implementations. We can use it for the IM. So it's like the project interface risk matrix and the ICAT, that's a interface assessment. So the PRI matrix, which we call it as a high level decision making, which enables the project professional to identify the extents of IM. So if you look at the diagram, so we can go much more scenarios, like how we can do, these are like a few scenarios, like the low business impact and high risk, and also the medium. So these are like certain tools we can use for the formal IM, the more formal and the most formal. Like these are the tools and techniques which we can go in deeper in later in this course. So the PD cell contains of several factors like the manager, the IM spreadsheet, and the IM commercial, and also the integration with the project schedule and change management. So coming to the ICAT, so the ICAT, it's like the interface complexity assessment tool. So this is like a kind of a lower level tool to assess and prioritize interface points from the project perspective. So if you see the difference between the ICAT and the PIRI, so the ICAT is used for the lower level tool, and the PIRI is used for the higher level qualitative analytical tool. So this is the whole format of ICAT by determining the IIF and also the questionnaires and also the rating guidelines based on the questionnaire. So it's ranging from zero to two. So which I can explain much deeper during this course. So these are the interface influencing factors. Like if you see here, like in the ICAT, so the first portion you can see like the interface influencing factors. Like these factors are used to determine the IM implementation of using the IM maturity model and the PIRI matrix, like the interface between the stakeholders of a single project can be ranked. So these are like a few factors like the prior collaboration experience, language, culture, geographical locations and time zones, communication scope definitions, and also the environmental conditions. In the third chapter, we are going to discuss about the attributes for a good interface. So in this topic, I would like to explain the hard interfaces and the soft interfaces. So if you see the soft interfaces, this is like a kind of an exchange of communication between the stakeholders. Like it may be the communication between the delivery teams, the communication between the external parties. So this is categorized as a soft interface, and these are like useful for regulatory and permit issues, and also like using like situations like involving the different language and culture. And what is hard interfaces? Like this represents like a physical connections between two or more components. Like let's say there is a structural steel and also there is a pipe termination and also such as like a tie-in points. So this the hard interfaces, it's like a kind of a physical connections between two or more components. And coming to the internal interfaces, it's like a kind of a single scope, identified as a single scope, and external, it is identified as two or more scope of works. And this is like a general type of interfaces, like the physical, functional, contractual, organization, knowledge, resource, social, static, dynamic. And necessary attributes for each interfaces like the unique interface number, the revision number, the date of lost revision, suppliers, the supplier and receiver signatures. So, and what is the IAF? That's an interface agreement form. It's like a kind of a simple way to document an interface. So it's a kind of a document you can record the information based on the interface agreement. So this is called as a interface agreement form. So this is a typical interface agreement form. And coming to the interface configuration management, so this is like a kind of a process which we can utilize for the central interface management system, ensuring the proper communication and transparency between the multiple parties on the project. And what is an IDR? The IDR, it's like a kind of a interface data registrar. So it's like a kind of a good practice to implement and centralize IDR for the whole project. Like it's easy way to regularly review all IAF to assess their status based on when they are required by the project. So this is a sample IDR. So this is like an interface management tools and design processes. So these are the tools which used to determine the appropriate level of IM implementations. These are like the master interface plan. Like this is like a kind of a document which is explained in detail how to manage interface points and interface agreements. And what is an interface management spreadsheets? So these are the basic tools which we use to manage on registering the IPs within the project and acting as a documented form of communication. And what is ICD? So this is the physical representation of interface point, which may be included or attached to the IA or other documents. And what is the software? The software are the tools which improve the efficiency and eliminate the waste. And what are the stages of maturity for enabling tools? The stage zero is considered as a starting point of organization. So the stage zero, it's like a kind of a starting point of an organization. So which they are just venturing into this project, like which they are. It is like a kind of a new project or something like that. So the this is considered as a stage zero, and the highest level of maturity, it's like a kind of a this project is already in progress and they have implemented like a multiple operations of the they have delivered like a multiple projects. So this is the highest level of maturity, that's the stage 4. So the lowest it's like a stage 0 and the highest it's like a stage 4. So if you can see, we are discussing about the enabling tools and systems. So this is the document, like what we have to implement in the stage 0 and what we have to implement in the stage 4. So in stage 0, so it is like you're going to use like a traditional methods like emails, files, and folders. And stage 1 of the project, it's like you're tracking the project updates by using the spreadsheets or the databases. And then the stage 2, you're using like you're deploying a tool or the system with a fundamental degree of automation and workflow. And the stage 3, it's considered as you have to understand the fully automated system with the workflow and the status tracking. And in the stage 4, which is the highest stage of maturity, like it's like a it is like a you're implementing a fully automated system that shares a key common data within the project schedule, change management, and risk management system. So this is a recap of PD matrix. In this previous slide, I have explained about the whole or the overall PD matrix. So let's take like a few example scenarios by using the PD matrix. Like if you see the project, the it is like a least formal IM, and which has like a low complexity and low risk and low business impact. So here you can see it is only because the project is in the stage 0 level. So here you can the PD matrix always recommends to use the IM spreadsheet. So this is like a kind of an example, like the owner uses like a ABC construction, like a ABC construction as a sole source of contractor. I think this is like a kind of a basic project, like the owner is planning to use only one contractor based on the excellent delivery of projects, and also uh, the local market has a plentiful resources available for the project. And also it is this contract is based on the lump sum, and also it is also well established by specific procedures and management tool. And this is like a kind of a greenfield project. So in the previous video, I have explained about the greenfield and the brownfield. The greenfield, it is like a kind of a ground up construction, like you are uh, about to begin the construction. It's like you are having a land and have to construct a new project or something like that. So this is considered as a greenfield. And the brownfield, it is like a kind of a retrofit construction. Like you have the shell of the shell construction, and there is some existing portion of work is already done. So it's like a kind of you're trying to upgrade the project, trying to upgrade the construction, like by demolishing the existing one, and you're planning to build a new one. So this is considered as a brownfield. So coming to the high complexity and high business impact, like here, this is like a kind of a most formal IM. So here, it's the PD matrix is recommending like the interface management, commercial software, schedules, and change management. And this is like a kind of a thing. So this is it is the DFS is like a fertilizer company that's based in Michigan, and it's a joint venture with GHI Chemical that's in Europe, and JKL Farms that's in Texas. So the DFS, it specializes in manufacturing and environmental reasonable crop fertilizers. And you can see this is like a kind of an expansion DFS project, and it has like a EPCM model of work, and also like it has like a kind of a 436 tying points, and additionally these were funded by different banking institute. So to overally explaining the whole scenario, so I just don't want to go the whole scenario, but I can give like a kind of a summary regarding this scenario. So there is a DFS fertilizer company that's in Michigan, and it is collaborated with the two companies, the GHI Chemical and JKL Farms. So and DEF is it's specialized in the manufacturing the crop fertilizers. So there is a plan of expanding this project in Kenya and Africa. Uh, and also the Kenyan government has an like established a strict environmental guidelines following this construction. And also like this is like a kind of an executing the EPCM model, and it has like a 436 tying points to complete one shutdown. So, and also it requires like a four prime contractors. So by analyzing this scenario, you can see like this is a high level complex project, and which requires like a tying points. So it requires like a proper IM to implement this project successfully. And the low complexity and high business impact, like you can if you see here like uh, I think there is a requirement of the interface manager, the spreadsheet, and also like a integration with the schedule change and risk management. Like this is one of the example. Like this is like a kind of an brownfield project. Like you're trying to do the replacements based on the regulatory kind of a work. So if you see if you see the here, it's like the scope is very low, but it may impact the business very high. So this is one of the kind of scenario. Like maybe if you see this is a kind of valve replacement, but there might be the delay like on the product, like the maybe there is a long lead times, and also like which definitely impacts the completion of the project, like the schedule. So, and coming to the ICAT matrix, so if you see here the ICAT matrix, you can see the influencing factors, and these are the particular questionnaires, like and this is the rating guidelines. So if you see the ratings, how these organizations interface before, like what is the score, like let's say you have like a rating guidance, like it's like in the uh, how many years like this is followed, like and this is like a kind of a weightage. So let's say it's like a two something like that. So by calculating the percentages, the interface weightage. So you get like the total of 100%, but you get a score from 0 to 2. So let's say, let's say if it's like a So this is like a kind of a metric. So the finally from 0 to 2. So they are like a kind of a level 1 to level 2, level 3, and level 4. So if your the ICF is getting like a regular intervals of zero point 0.5. So let's say if you're getting like a zero point 0.5, this is classified as a simple interface. So if it's like a 1 or something like that, zero point 0.5 to 1, so it is considered as a moderately simple interfaces. 1 to 1.5, this is moderately complex interfaces. And also the 1.5 to 2, it is classified as complex interfaces. So these are the implementation framework steps. So the first, these are like a 6 steps you have to follow. That's like a interface identification, interface documentation, the interface transferring and interface communication, monitoring and controlling, interface closing. And what are the software benefits? And these are the following benefits like implementing the IM softwares. Like you can formalize the scope delineation and the mitigate the cost and schedule risk, improve accountability, ensuring compliance to the policies, reduce errors and rework. Recording in progress. So the fifth topic, it's like a how to effectively manage interfaces. So if you see like a stages of maturity, so the stage 0, it's like the organization, they are just starting out for the IM implementations, and the stage 4, it's like you're fully implementing the IM across the organizations and all relevant projects. And going into the business processes. So in the business processes, you can see like the stage 0, it's like you're implementing the ad hoc processes and derived processes. And also in stage 1, you're adopting the industry best practices. And stage 2, you're developing a best practice. And stage 3, it's like you're measuring the key performance indicators. And stage 4, it's like you're integrating IM processes. And what are the standard IM processes? Like you're creating and managing status of interface points, and you're issuing IPs, documenting interface agreements, obtaining owner approval, document interface action items, submit an IA change request, update the interface register, integrate IM work schedules, and integrate deliverables, monitoring and controlling, and conducting the project handover, implement various project administrative processes. And what is MIP? That's a master interface planning. So it is referred as an interface management plan, like by representing methods, strategies, and process developed by the project management team. So it is like a purpose to manage like the intra, extra interfaces toward the phases of the project. So what are the contents of MIPs? So that's a definition of IMs, IPs, and IAs. The purpose of IMs, maturity level of IM in the project, common type of IPs, roles and responsibilities, sample and IA forms. So here you can see like a kind of different types of project delivery methods. So the first thing you can see like a design bid build. So this is like a kind of a sequential and linear approach. Like the each phase will be ending before the next phase begins. This type of delivery methods can be used to achieve the greater cost. And also like by sequencing the phases and minimizing the overlaps. And here in this DBBs, the design bid build, so the owner will contract separately with the designer and the contractor. And if you see, this is like a kind of a feasible, this is like a kind of a step procedure. Like it's like the feasibility is one phase, the concept is the next phase. So first you have to do the feasibility study, and next you have to go with the conceptual phase. So this is like the overall gist for the DBB. And the second one, it's like a DB, that's like a design build, and it's also known as the fast track projects. So this is like a kind of a parallel and concrete approach where multiple phases may overlap in interest of achieving and improving the schedule and date. So here the owner will be using like a single contract. The contractor and the design together they will be working under single contract. And here you can see like these phases are overlapped. So you can do parallelly work on different phases at the time. So this is like a kind of a project life cycle roadmap. So always remember the project will be starting in the front end planning phases, like the front end planning phases, the execution phase, and the handover phase. The front end planning phases, it's like the feasibility concepts and the detailed scope. The execution phase, consists of detailed design, procurement, and construction. The handover phase, which we call it as a closing out phase, it has like commissioning and startup. So, what are the principles of IM implementation? So, these are the few principles you have to follow for the IM implementation, like the tight control of dynamic interfaces, clearly define a definition of static product interfaces, the integrity of project integration and changing organization structure, and early firm control of design, and management of design production interfaces and effects required on the project. Here you can see like a two types, like the low level implementation and also the high level implementation. Like stage zero, you can see no IM practice, and stage one, it's like a least formal IM practice. Stage two, it's like a kind of a semi-formal IM practice, and stage three, it's like a more formal IM practice. And chapter six, it's like a capabilities needed for the interface management. So what are the capabilities needed for the interface management? It's like so these are the steps you have to follow for the communication process. So uh, I don't want to go like each step so this is like a kind of a communication process like a team member of the accountable parties require the specific information, and this should be generated via interface agreement, and the interface coordinator reviews the detail of agreement, and next they send it to the interface manager, and he reviews the requirements of the agreement, and with the collaboration of the the interface manager of the consulting party will accept the agreements and request clarification. And this agreement goes back and forth between two parties until they agree on the requirements of the agreement. And once it's agreed, so the interface manager will be responsible for providing the information or the deliverables by the agreed upon deadlines. So what are the levels of project interfaces? Like if you see the inter-project interfaces, like it's like the interfaces are, interfaces are like directly between the stakeholders, like the owner contractor, the contractor A and contractor B. What is intra-project? Like maybe the interface between the different organizations within the company. Let's say the owner is planning to collaborate with the finance team, with the finance department, or maybe the supply chain department, or maybe like the inspection department. So this is like a kind of intra-project interfaces. And extra project interfaces, it's like the outside of the company, like that may be the government or that may be the different organizations. So this is considered as a extra project interfaces. So so the next topic will be like the interface manager and the interface coordinator. So we have to know the difference between the interface manager and the interface coordinator. Uh, like uh, uh, so, so if you see the interface manager will develops and implement and manages the interface management plan and ensure consistency, and also oversee and monitor internal and external interfaces, and also maintain the master interface data register and ensure effective communication between the interfaces. And how about like an interface coordinator, like a interface coordinator who participate in interface meetings and also uh, reviews the outgoing interface request and also ensure resolution of interface IRs and also actively monitor the IDR and also provides collaborative interface resolution support and acting as a project liaison between the contractors and also informs to the interface manager on potential impact due to unsatisfactory responses. And RACI matrix. So if you see RACI stands for the responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. And these are the few core competencies, if you see like a few factors like the influencing and negotiation, leadership, relationship management, communication, problem solving, and decision making. So if you see the overall here, the interface manager has a significant level of authority when compared to the interface coordinator. So the interface coordinator has the significant level like in the communication and the problem solving. And interface coordinator has minimal liability on making any decision making. So qualified people and practitioners. So here you can see like in the stage zero, you can see you can appoint the project engineers, and in stage one, you can utilize the experienced project coordinators. In stage two, you can go with the professional with IM experience. And stage three, you can promote the interface manager, and also stage four, you can hire the fully requisites with fully experienced project manager for this stage four. And coming to the sustaining culture, maybe recognizing the notation of IM and also advocating like a good examples of the project and IM advocates or ambassadors. Assigning here in stage two, you can see like assigning IM advocates as mentors uh, and uh, and also developing a thought process change by implementing the best practices by establishing the robust IM and also the several IM advocates and continually managing and sustaining organization and also ensuring the benefits at the enterprise level. So this is the conclusion of interface management. And do let me know if you have any questions and further explanation on this topic. So the next topic will be like a project communication. Recording in progress. So the next topic will be like the project communication. In this topic, in this chapter, we're gonna discuss about the nine concepts, like the importance of effective communication in the built environmental projects and communication strategy and communication plans, stakeholder management for communication, active listening, and establishing appropriate governance structure using the big room obeya, CBM, the commitment-based management, and the project management information systems, and evidence base using the Compass diagnostic tool. So in the part one, we're going to explain about the importance of effective communication in built environmental projects. So if you see these are the key communication documents which are required in the built environmental projects. So this is an important concept for the exam. So take concentration on this. So coming to the transmittal, this is like a kind of a cover sheet for the for any documentation. And coming to the contracts, it is like a kind of an agreement between two parties that creates a mutual legal obligations. And it is considered as a last point of control between the client and contracting parties. And coming to the estimates, it gives a knowledge of volume of work by calculating the budgets and the plan. And what is schedule? It has like a procedure for proposed objective. And coming to it has like a kind of a necessary completion date and sequence of work and the time allocated. And coming to the submittals, this is like a kind of a shop drawing, material data, samples, and product data. And coming to the memoranda and letters, this is like a kind of a starting point of contract negotiations and site diaries. So these are like a recording all the work site progress, like a daily work event or the monthly work event or the weekly work event. And change orders. The change order, it's like which register all the changes in the project scope and schedule, design, and construction of site. And warranties. So this is like a kind of an obligation that arises from a document issued and signed by a warranty. So what are the core benefits of effective communication? Like these are the seven principles. The first one, promoting the stakeholder satisfaction, and the second one, it's like resulting in fewer conflicts. And third one, it increases the productivity and also it's like ensuring the top level management support and increases the job satisfaction and develops a high performing team. And what are the seven principles of effective communication? So, seven principles of effective communications are avoid being vague, clear purpose, action, decisiveness, conflicts, asking questions, allowing others to speak, and clear outcome. And what are the damaging effects of poor communications? The damaging effects of poor communication are it's like a limited or no buy-in and dedication to the projects and failure to understand the stakeholder expectations, what is considered the project success, and disputes between the project team and stakeholders or between the stakeholder groups. And what are the signs of ineffective communication? Like these are the few signs that can represent any issue with the communication, like the conflicting goals and objective, the lack of stakeholder involvement, the poor time management, and lack of project team commitment, and negative attitudes and financial loss. And and the next topic will be like the cause and effect of poor communication on built environmental projects. Like these are the causes and these are the effects. The cause, it's like the lack of effective communication between the construction parties and the lack of communication system and platforms. Poor communication skills, language barriers, and improper communication channels. And what is the effect of the communication, the poor communication, like the cost overruns, the time overruns, disputes, rework and redesign, and high accident rate? And what are the communication gaps caused by the contractual agreements? So these are the few factors, like there is a lack of clarity, the level of involvement, misunderstanding, hands-off gap, health and safety. So, and what are the techniques to prevent the ineffective communication? So these are the few techniques you can implement in order to prevent the ineffective communication, like by running the effective meetings, conducting effective conversation, active listening. So this is the most important topic. And also the communication reviews. So these are the few tips if you have to run an effective meeting. Like you need to have an agenda and time to attend the meeting, and also making sure you are inviting the right people to this meeting and understanding their roles clearly, and choosing an appropriate venue where there is a scope for collaborative environmental and there is required equipment such as the projector, laptops, and whiteboards to summarize any discussions. So these are the few tips to run for running the effective meeting, like smartphones or emailing like an agenda 24 hours prior, and also having like a relevant data, and also no interrupting. So brief and concise. So these are the few factors. So these are the communication tools like the scheduling, BIM tools, ERP software, and also the blockchain tools. Building your communication strategy and plan. So the communication strategies are extremely important, and ensuring all the parties are aware of the scope of the project. And the communication strategy works as a blueprint for how the projects and program exchange information with all project stakeholders. And the communication management plan is a map that details the strategic information that the project should execute and includes the following things like the messages, audience, communication media, activities, and timeline. So these are the strategy and these are the plans. So what are the principles of developing an effective communication strategy and planning? So the communication, it's recommended to develop the communication management plan from day one by requesting request for proposals are being put together. And these are the effective principles like developing the communication strategy at the beginning, tailor the communication to specific audience, tailor the immediate project need, careful planning of communication strategies, frequent reviews and feedback loops, flexibilities and communication methods needs to be utilized. So these are the few aspects. So what, how, and who, how. What will the communication present? Who is the target of communication? How the message will be communicated? So what are the key elements of communication strategy and plan? So the first thing you have to identify the target audience and stakeholders, identifying the stakeholder expectations, defining communication tools and methods, define the target messages, classify the type of communication, establish forms and frequency, agree to an owner, outline the proposed branding guidelines. And what are the techniques to develop communication plans? So these are the several techniques like outline the timeline upfront, communication disturbances, tailor the message and delivered method to the audience, communicate progress regularly, planned and informed sessions, medium for communication, add a timetable to your plan. And the next topic, it's very important, like it's like the feedback loop. So there are like a four feedback loops: the positive feedback loop, negative feedback loop, internal feedback loop, and external feedback loop. So the positive feedback loop, so which is considered as a from the client, you are receiving to advance the project constructively. So let's say there is a you having a design for the project, and the client is suggesting to improve the design. Let's say maybe by implementing this change. This will add a more additional features, or it's like a kind of a additional beneficial to the project. So this is considered as a positive feedback loop. So let's say that it is like a kind of a constructive feedback. So whenever you receive like a constructive feedback from the client, and by implementing this change, which may beneficially improve the project. So this is considered as a positive feedback loop. And coming to the negative feedback loop, so this is the negative feedback loop, like maybe there is an plan to rectify. So maybe this plan has some kind of a safety issues that may be impacting. So by changing this planning or something like that, so it's like a kind of an it requires like a kind of an issue. It's like kind of an action plan which is required to rectify the plan. So this is considered as a negative feedback loop. So let's say you are having a project and there is a safety concern related to that project. So and the client is recommending to change that feature. So that way the impact of the project will be impact of that safety will be reduced, which will not cause any damage in the future. So this type of feedback is called as a negative feedback. So coming to the internal feedback, so this is within the feedback is within the internal team. An external team which is outside of the team. So this is called as an external feedback. So these are the quantitative benefits of using the feedbacks, like the engineering cost, the schedule duration, and the construction cost. And qualitative benefits like the site, improving the site accessibility, improving the safety, reducing discrepancies, and reducing the amount of rework, and improving the safety goal, and also commitment, increasing in communication. So these are the few factors. The third topic, it's like the stakeholder management for communication. So the stakeholder management, it's like a process of maintaining good relationship with the people who are connected to your project. And what are the objective of stakeholder management? Like there are two objective factors, like improve the performance of the project team and also overcome resistance to the change. And these are the few concerns like the conflict and distrust, misunderstanding, delays, stakeholder management, accountability, and mistrust. And this is an important topic. Like I think it's on the PMP exam as well. So, but I can give like a high-level overview of what is power interest matrix and stakeholder analysis matrix and stakeholder engagement matrix. So, the power interest matrix, like focusing on categorizing the stakeholders based on their increasing power and interest. And also the stakeholder analysis matrix. So it specifies how we should engage the stakeholders. And also the engagement matrices, like how effective on engaging the stakeholders. So these are the power interest matrix, like managing closely, keeping satisfied, keeping informed, and monitored. And these are the few factors, like with the stakeholders, like the unaware, resistant, neutral, engaged, and committed. What are the effective stakeholder communication? Like these are the few factors, like summarizing your stakeholder information, decide what you want from each stakeholder, identify your key message to each stakeholder, identify your stakeholder communication approach, implement your stakeholder management plan, gather stakeholder feedback. Overcoming resistance, like implementing these complex business environmental projects, like especially when stakeholders are not aligned with the changes with the project manager, the resistance can be both internal and external. These are like a managing resistance to change. Begin with the process perspective, considering avenues of resistant management, conduct anticipating resistant lessons, integrate resistance management, and building resistance management skills. So the fourth topic, it's like a kind of an active listening. So this is the most important topic on project communication. Like you can see so many questions related to this topic. So these are like a four elements from the active listening, like the sender, receiver, channel, and message. So the sender, it's like a who sends the message via channel, and the receiver who receives the message via that particular channel. And these are the few principles like for the active listening, like considering personal traits when transmitting a message. What sender says may not be the same when what receiver hears. And also listening skills are essential for both sender and receiver. So the role of active listening, like maybe if you see uh, let's say we are all playing different roles and also ensuring a good communication and also supporting a group to support each other so these are the few important criteria you have to consider, like assign someone to help or clarify the points that are being communicated, and also like assign someone to challenge what is being communicated. So these are the few factors you have to be analyzing during the active listening conversation, and these are the methods to improve our active listening. The first one, the create time for listening and listen with intention to understand, avoid interruptions and limit distraction, and process what you heard and avoid judgment. And the final step, it's like repeat for validation. And establishing appropriate governance structure. So the project governance, it's defined as a process of decision making within a framework to ensure coherence between the realization of project objectives and the process and resources used in the project. So these are the benefits of implementing the effective project governance structure, like the single point of accountability, effective risk and issue management, and proactive mitigation. Stakeholders have clear, defined roles and responsibilities, and transparent communication and timely distribution of information. So always remember, so these are the benefits of implementing the project governance. So always remember there is a single point of accountability, like whether the organization has the maybe the reporting structure of 1,000 or 2,000. So you should have a single point of accountability. Like you have to report. It should be the overall flow should be like a single point of accountability, so that the communication should be channeled via like a single point of accountability. So this is an important one, and you get like one or two questions related to this topic, so be prepared for this. So these are the principles of project governance for built environmental project, like establishing clear accountability for project outcomes, identifying the key project stakeholders, implement appropriate system and process, implement a monitoring and reporting schedule, and establish an effective project governance structure. The project governance best practices are like the clear project definition, visibility into project performance, internal accountability, effective contracting strategies, and rigorous communication reports. And these are the governance best practices like the project charter, stage gates, single point of contact, project governance board, risk management, and roles and responsibilities. And what are the project governance structure, like the project governance framework, roles and responsibilities, stakeholder engagement, meetings and firms, communication reporting, risk and issue management, assurance, and project management control processes. This is the most important concept, like the big room obeya. So, what is the big room? So, the obeya. So, the obeya or the big room. So, it provides a dedicated space and time for coordination and problem solving, and it is designed to minimize organization barriers. It's more than a physical. Obeya is more than a physical space. So, it is a process of engagement, transparency, mindset, and set of behavior. Like let's say you're in a room, and this is like a kind of a collaboration room where each one will have each thoughts, like maybe gathering all the minds, and maybe providing a one solution kind of a thing, like for the project. So like it's like a kind of an sharing your understanding on the project, and maybe this is a point of discussion of the discussion of the project, like ways, means and methods of improving the project, like by gathering all the stakeholders which are required in a physical space, and having a point of discussion on how to improve the particular situation of the project. So this is like a kind of a conditions of satisfaction. So this is a condition of satisfaction. It's like a kind of a decision-making guide that aligns the team focus, which are agreed priorities for the project. The and also like the project, the condition of satisfied define what success means, and each condition should be measurable. And typically, the condition of satisfactions are like 8 to 15. Like it may be like any chronological order, and you can see like a different types of options for the COS. And what are the what are the principles of obeya? So, like meeting the big room 2 days a week, and also working in the problem solving collaborative, and also determining the direction of project together, and capturing some live notes. And what are the principles of obeya? So the principles of obeya are the aligned on the purpose, clear visual elements, advanced working together, problem solving, effective teamwork, engaging the leadership, regular meetings. And what are the obeya rules? Like these are like a certain big room rules. Like the first one, it's like a preparation, improvement, uh, effective onboarding, positive reinforcement, focus on working, safe, confidential zone, equal status, speaking up and listening to others. So there are like a kind of a misrepresentations like the obeya may be failing. Like these are the few factors you have to be noted. Like the first one, it's like everything is green, there are no problems, and there are problems identified, and but no agreed upon actions to solving them. And lack of understanding on what is important, and upon review, it becomes clear information. And the meeting spaces are only used for the meetings, and also the project schedules are the only visuals on the walls, and the people seem disengaged and not actively involved. So the obaya, it's not restrictive, and it's restrictive and not enabling creative work from its people. So Obeya meeting acts as an accelerator to gain cohesions, and also it encourages the leadership and also the high degree of transparency. So these are the big rooms for the specific physical space are included, like the large open room, the breakout spaces, the technologies to support like the smart board, video conferencing, and also the sharing structures, biological consideration, and visuals. And what are the approaches of the big room, like the co-located, recurring, hybrid, and virtual? The co-located, like the participants are continuously located at the particular, maybe the office space, so the conference room. So this is considered as a co-located, and recurring, uh, the people, like the stakeholders are meeting on a regular basis, and on a recurring basis, and the meeting the person regularly, and but based on the meetings or something like that. But these are not co-located. And coming to the hybrid, it's a combination of in-person and virtual attendance by select participants. And virtual, it's like a kind of a you're working remotely in different time zones. And coming to the PDCA Act, that's a Plan, Do, Check Act. So these are the key approaches on problem solving with obeya. That's a PDCA. So the PDCA involves like the four stages: plan, do, check, act. So the plan itself implies how a current or new processes and how the improvements could be made. So the second one, it's like a do. Do it specifies how to gather and analyze the test results, compare what is expected outcomes and what has been learned. So this is like a conducting a test and what is the end result. This is considered as a do. And check, maybe maybe testing the small changes and doing the feasibility study and assessing the effectiveness. And act, the act is like taking actions according to the lesson learned in the check stage. The A3 problem solving. The A3 problem solving, it's like a kind of a collaborative problem solving method, and it is like a kind of an equal usage of right brain and left brain. Like if you take a A3 sheet, you have like a you can divide the A3 sheet into half, like the right brain and the left brain. So the right brain is used to use for visualizing the problem, and the left brain is used to analyze the problem root cause. So this is a perfect example of A3 report. So what are the steps of A3 problems? So the first thing, you have to describe the background of the problem. And second one, you have to define the current condition. And the third one, you have to agree on improvement goal and perform the root cause analysis and develop the countermeasures and perform the confirmation of the results and complete follow-up actions. And commitment-based management. So the commitment-based management is a framework which brings clarity and the purpose to drive actions and outcomes using effective communication. So this is like it's like it provides a repeatable, structured approach and framework. And what are the common challenges by addressing CBM, like the slice behavior, obscure accountability by matrix management structure, remote management of direct reports and supplier across geographics, complex stakeholder with different objectives, and mass resource coordination across complex supply chain. And what are the benefits of implementing CBM, the commitment-based management? So bringing brings accountability into organization, emphasizes the importance of feedback loops, drive active responsibilities, increase employee engagement, and views deliverable as promise and increase the agility. So the commitment-based management are like these are the few stages like the preparation, negotiation, performance, and acceptance. So the first one, it's like the preparation, like it's like a kind of a gaining mutual understanding, and the negotiation, reaching to an agreement, and the third, it's performance, managing the performance, and the fourth, it's like a feedback, declaring whether they are happy. And these are the few qualities of commitment, like the public, active, voluntary, explicit, and mission-based. So the public, like the people, they make a good declarations and they publicly taking a commitment, like this is taking a portion of project and actively committing in the public. This is considered as a public, and active, like it's considered as proactively involving in the commitment, like maybe like in the conflicting, or maybe like in the kind of like a maybe performance or something like that. So actively participating in the project, and voluntary, which means that you're responsible for this project, and you're voluntarily taking this project and making the better commitment for the project. And explicit, it's like a kind of a background, or like a and subject to multiple interpretations. So this is like a explicit, like where parties having different culture or the background, and avoiding any misunderstanding of parties, making a request clear from start. And mission based, it's like a kind of an urgency situation, where you can see like a unforeseen roadblocks, and clearly addressing the customer concerns. So this is considered as a mission base. And project management information systems. So the PMIS helps the team to plan, schedule, monitor, and report. And these are the few PMIS features, like insights, security, visibility, communication, collaboration, and task management. And if you see here, the PMIS provider, like there is a data, like the 77% of the high performing projects use PMIS, and while 66% of the project manager say they would use a PMIS if they had supported from their organization. So this is the most important thing. These are the key features, like the scheduling and planning, resource management, budget, cost, control, performance, reporting and communication, integration and easy of tool, project document and data, collaboration tools, and social media. And principles of PMIS, the performance improvement, transferring of knowledge, team collaboration, widespread application, and value of information. Recording in progress. So the next topic will be like the compass tool. So this is the most important thing for the exam. So So the background, it's like it should be like a simple to use and understand and impose a minimal administrative burden, and it quantifies the summary results and provides a sufficient details and making assessment to improve. So this is like this tool is used to assess the project team communication during the execution phase of the built environmental projects. Like if you see the accuracy, the timeline completion, understanding barriers and procedures. So this is the compass sheet, like you have the project information, uh, primarily categorizing the project. Recording in progress. So this is like a kind of a sheet, like a project information. And if you see like there are like a few factors like the project management, engineering, and the construction. By categorizing the accuracy, timing, understanding barriers and procedures. So by analyzing the report, like what is the effective scoring, and also and the overall effectiveness of the scoring. So what are the action plans to resolve the communication gaps? Like how to develop a communication strategy and plan, implement feedback loop, and implement six-step to establishing the effective stakeholder engagement, employ active listening, establishing an appropriate project governance structure, use the obeya to provide structure approach, and implement commitment-based management and use a PMIS to improve communication. Recording in progress. So the next topic will be like the contract and risk management in the built environment. So these are the eight important parts like the contract life cycle, contract and delivery method strategy, risk classification and prioritization, and also the risk management frameworks, tools and techniques, claims, and reducing the claims and dispute. So what is a contract management? The contract management is a process of managing contracts which are made as a part of delivery in the built environment, which involves in creation, analysis, and execution of contract by parties of to contract, ensuring operational and financial performance are maximized and risks are minimized. And what is a claim? So the claims and disputes. The claims commonly arise between the parties of construction contracts, often due to problems such as delay, changes, unforeseen circumstances, insufficient information, and conflicts and disputes. Their claims might be made for things such as losses and expense, liquidate damages, and the contract should set exactly what constitutes a claim or dispute and how it should be settled. So coming to the contract life cycle. So what is a contract? I have explained in the previous, like again, I can explain. So what is a contract? So the contract constitutes a formal agreement or transaction between two parties. It is like a kind of a legal binding document, and uh, it's set aside for the sufficient time and expertise, and also while protecting each party's interests. Like the poorly constructed contract can result negative outcomes like the unplanned or desired project changes, increase risk exposure and potential losses, claims and disputes, legal battles, and project failures. Always remember the always remember the project life cycle starts in the front end planning phases. So if you see like a key stages like the discovery, pre-award, proposal process, contract execution, and closeout. So in my previous video, I have explained in detail about the contract life cycle, but here I would like to do like a high level summary. So this is a very important topic for the exam. The discovery phases. So it's considered as a maybe the discussion point where the owner organizations can turn their ideas into a concrete project. So So this is like a kind of a feasibility study where the owner can turn the project into the turn their idea into the concrete project. So, and coming to the key activities like the project analysis, market assessment, business development, and also the business case, contractor walkaway point, and short-term contract. And coming to the pre-award phases, in the pre-award phases, it's like a kind of a once everything is cleared on discovery phase. So in this phase, the pre-award phase, the project receives the green light based on the feasibility study and also the business case approval and benchmarking activities. So these are the key activities like the delivery methods and the risk management process documentation, tendering of proposal strategy agreement, and the tendering or RFP documentation draft, and completely internal evaluation criteria set. And coming to the proposal process, once the pre-award phase is completed in the proposal process, like the contract, there will be like a kind of a RFP, and also like the and also the owner will send the ITT or the RFP to the relevant suppliers, and it gives a window and also the suppliers have a window to issue an RFA to shape their proposal or tender. So these are the key activities like the bid solidation, subcontracting, bid submission, bid selection, and contract formulation. Contract execution and management. They are like a key activities like a contract review sessions, contract management plan and governance, performance management, and contract closeout. So closeout like ensuring all the requirements have been met, the project change orders ensure they have process, permitting for the facility is in place, completion, and final accounting. And what are the contract clauses? Contract clauses defines the responsibility, rights, and privileges of both contractual parties and addressing the unique characteristics. And these are the key clauses. I have given a detailed explanation in my previous video. So these are the time barrier clause, change clause, dispute resolution clause, indemnity clause, liquidated damage, payment clause, and termination clause. And what are the best practices? By setting up the integrated teams, set contract KPIs, identify and assess and manage contract risk, track and manage change, resolve disputes efficiently, and tailor the project delivery method, and use clear and concise and ambiguous language, and clearly define the scope of work, and clearly address insurance coverage, and ensure the contract is understood and followed. And second topic, it's like the contract and delivery method strategies. So according to the DBI, the project delivery, it's like a comprehensive process that includes planning, design, and construction, which requires to execute and complete a building facility or another type of project. The delivery method defines how parties are related to each other contractually throughout the progress of the project. And these are the few factors like the budget, design, risk, schedule, and owner expertise. And choosing the right project delivery method, like establishing when parties become engaged and influence to choosers of the contractual relationship, and influence ownership, impact of change and modification of the project cost. And the PDCS tools, like it's like the project delivery and content strategy, like the Excel uh, selection tools, these are the analysis involves like the selection factors, assigning preference weight, and obtaining aggregated score. And these are the delivery methods like the DBB, DB, CMAR, job ordering contract, multi-award task order contract, construction management, multi-prime, public or private partnership, IPD, direct labor, and BOT. So, and also this is like a kind of a thing. So the documenting. So the engineering joint contract document committee describes the written documents that defines the roles and responsibilities are legally binding on the parties. And there are like two or more parties are involved, like that one or more property owners, designers, and contractors. And as of the standard form of contract. So this is like a standard agreement that provides a legal framework regarding the rights and obligations. And this is like a kind of a main purpose, like the complexity and diversity of risk and routine administrative procedures, and also like the and amendments like used to create the bespoke contracts so you have like a kind of a flexibility. So this is an important thing, like whenever when you receive like this type of contract, the contractor the owner has a right to modify the contract documents. So this is the whole scenario of explaining this topic, like the choosing a contract type, and also what are the standard forms of contract, and what are the amendments, and what are the amendments, and these are the few examples. And the payment structure, like the lump sum, the cost plus fee, the GMP, the unit price, the ad measurement, target cost, and T&M. So what are the contract award methods, like the competitive bid, the pre-qualified bid, the best value selections, and the negotiated selections? And type of contract risk, like the contract types and misaligned incentives among the parties, inappropriate risk allocation, increased complexity of the contract, inadequate insurance certificate, risk in general, conditions of contract, and pricing risk. The risk classification and prioritization in the built environmental projects. Different type of the risk management, it's like a process of identifying, classification, analyzing, and prioritizing and mitigating. Risk for clients. These are the few risk factors for the clients: the monetary loss, the poor advice, the project delays, unforeseen issues, cost commitment problems, and the owner's approach, like the self-retention, insurance, passing risk, and types of risk classification, like the technical and construction risk, commercial risk, environmental and social risk. So always remember, like the risk should be planned during the front-end planning. So it should be continuously monitored from initiation to the closeouts, and also it should be like a proactive process. And the risk management process, it's like a high level of steps, like the risk identification, risk assessment, risk analysis, risk mitigation, and the evaluation of the results. And always the risk management is considered as a team sport. And the risk management should be the integral part of every project delivery method. Successful risk management approach should be proactive, and start the risk management should be at the earliest possible time in the life cycle. Risk management framework and processes. So these are the few risk management hierarchies, like the strategic risk, the program risk, the sub-program risk, the project risk, and the contractor risk. Strategic risk, like the external driven factors, like the funding, economic factors, and also the influence, the COVID-19, and the program risk, like associated with the coordination, interfaces, and integration of the project, and the sub-program risk, like these are associated with the interfaces between the project, and the project risk, like these risks are associated with the delivery of project risk. And the comparing criteria, how budget, design, risk, schedule, and the owner expertise. Risk management tools and techniques. So here, risk avoidance, this is not accepted by the project entity, and risk acceptance, accept the consequences, and the event should occur. And the risk controls, like continuing monitoring and correcting the events, and risk transfer, like sharing with others, and contingency. This is certain and where certain future conditions are unknown. Risk register. It's a document or a spreadsheet which helps to track the risk toward the entire project and including the description, cost, likelihood of the occurrence, relative impact, and proposed mitigation actions and responsible parties. Monte Carlo simulation. It's like this is like a kind of a known topic. So this is an important topic, like the common causes of claims. So the built environmental claim is a request by either party of contract, usually the contractor, for compensation or for any damages caused by the failure of the other parties. And also the claim deadline. So whenever there is a claim, so the either party should be responded within 21 days in the form of AI, that the American Institute of Contract format. And what is a change order? The change order, it's like a kind of a variation and agreement between the two members to modify the contract to add or deduct and change the sequence of work. And what are the few factors like the assessing the change rise, evaluates the impact, and also decide whether to accept or reject the proposed change. And what's the difference between the claim and change order? The claim, the either party which like requests like the compensation or the damage caused by the failure of the party, the opposite party, uh, unable to fulfill the obligations as outlined in the contract. And what is a change order? It's like the it's like a change in the contract item, and it's agreed between both parties. And there are like a few types of claims: the contractual claim, the extra contractual claim, ex gratia claim, extension of time claim, breach of time frame claim. And what are the types of claims, like the payment related claim, the change claim, the delay claim, the extra work claim, contractual claim, a difference in pricing and measuring claim, a different site conditions, acceleration claim, damage claim, and contract termination claim. And methods to prevent and reduce claims and disputes. What are the contributing factors to claims and disputes? Failure to understand and comply with the contractual obligations, errors or omissions in the contract documents, unrealistic contract durations of or completion date. And what are the best practices to prevent claims and dispute, like the claim prevention, claim mitigation, pursuing claims, and claim resolution? So this is an important thing. So what are the best methods to prevent the claims? The claim prevention, claim mitigation, pursuing claims, and claim resolution. Claim prevention. Claim prevention usually occurs during the discovery and pre-award phases of the life cycle. And claim mitigation usually occurs between the pre-award and construction contract execution phases. So value of partnering. So the value of partnering, it's like you're establishing uh, a strategy that can be applied to any contracts to prevent and mitigate claims and disputes. This was leveraged by DuPont Engineering in mid 1980s. Pursuing claims, these are occurred during the contract execution and the contract closeouts, and the same with the claim resolution, are typically made during the contract execution and the closeout phases of the project. And what are the methods for dispute resolution? So the first one, it's like a negotiation. This is considered as a mutual willingness to compromise. And this is like a kind of a non-binding and also it's voluntary. In mediation, it's like there is a third person will be involving between the two parties and maybe bringing a mutual agreeable solution to a problem. And this is also kind of a voluntary and non-binding process. And addition, it's like it's like a kind of a similar to the mediation, but here there is a slight difference. There will be a neutral third party, but in addition, you have to pay first and argue later, and that way, the third party will be providing a solution to the argument. And it's like a kind of a this is a non-binding, but it's not voluntary. And arbitration, it's an alternative for the litigation, but uh, here you will be referring to the third party based on the material facts and documents. There is a third party, but uh, you have to prove with the material facts and documentations, and that way the third party can provide a solution for this. And this is like a kind of a binding process. So, but here there is a bigger advantage, instead of going into the court proceedings, so this is like a kind of a quick process. And what is an expert determination? So there will be an expert between the two parties, and he will be providing a solution based on the informal mechanisms, uh, and also like a valuation dispute. So this is a kind of less expensive, but it's like a kind of a binding process. And what is a litigation like? It's like a court procedure, like you're going to the court, and this is like a kind of a final step before getting a judgment. So for a claim. Progress. So the next topic will be like the scope and change order management. So in this topic, we have like a six topics, the business objective, performance outcomes, and setting up the project with a clear scope to ensure all stakeholders are bought in, and the scope evaluation tools, scope management throughout the project lifecycle, put in place an effective change order process and technology supporting scope management and change orders. And what is the scope management? It refers to the process which requires to ensure that all the project includes the work required, and the only work is required. And change order management, it's like adding and removal from the original scope of work. The first topic, it's like a business objective and performance outcomes to drive scope. The business goals are like a desired achievements or desired destination, and the business objectives are the clear outcomes that an organization aims to achieve by a certain date utilizing finite number of resources. And it's classified into six types: the business objective, financial objective, quality objective, technical objective, performance objective, and compliance objective. So the performance outcomes are the set of characteristics linked to the business objectives, and these are outcomes are like a specific, measurable, and realistic. So what is a basic logic model tool? The logic model tool is a graphic representation of your project or program. So it has like a resource inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impact. And what is a smart approach? The smart approach is used for the construction project manager to convert high-level goals into tangible objectives. And the SMART stands for the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time specific. And coming to the clear goals. So the clear goals are created by the Creek, and also this framework is used for the fast phase environment. The clear stands for the collaborative, limited, emotional, appreciable, and refinable. In the second topic, it's like setting the project up with the clear scope to ensure all the stakeholders are bought in. So what is the scope? The scope refers to a holistic end-to-end view of all the activities to be executed in order to deliver the project. Why this scope is important? This is important. It provides the holistic end-to-end view of all the activities and tasks to deliver the project. It results in changes throughout the project, project delays, budget overruns, and project failures. And by implementing the scope during the front-end planning, so you can save the project on 20% on the cost and 39% on improvements. If insufficient time spent on FEP, so the results will be negative, and also that will be resulting in rework and rescoping. So the front-end planning is also known as the front-end loading, pre-construction, feasibility analysis, project programming, schematic and conceptual design. The front-end planning encompasses the determination of the business need, objectives, and performance outcome, the scope definition and the scope of project, outline of general design. And FAP consists of three stages, like the feasibility, concept, and detail scope. And this is a Macmillan curve. So this curve provides the clear scope definitions and also against the time overruns and capital projects. Uh, it's like this curve is used. The relationship between the importance of upfront planning and the changes. The PDRA, the project definition rating index tool. So uh, this is an important tool which defines the project definition rating index. Like by implementing this tool during the front-end planning, you can save up to 20% from the cost and 39% on the schedule. Uh, it's These are the main benefits and during the front-end planning. It's reduction in the contractual disputes, reduce design changes. And what is the scope baseline? The scope baseline defines the scope statement, work breakdown structure, and associated work breakdown dictionaries. Scope of work. The scope of work normally contains an executive summary detailing in the project overview of the goals, objectives, and performance outcomes. And what are the 5 tips for defining the scope of work? Use clear and obvious language, break down the project, list clear objectives for deliverables, and ensuring sign-offs. What is a work breakdown structure? It helps to track the agreed scope of work throughout the project lifecycle, and it depicts the work to be completed in logical relationships. These are the WBS principles, like the definable, manageable, estimable, independent, integrable, and measurable. What is a 100% rule? The 100% rule is a key of creation of WBS, effectiveness of WBS, and this rule states the WBS must include 100% of the work defined in the project scope. So the PDRA tool, it's used for measuring the degree of scope development throughout the front-end planning. So these are the PDRA tools like for the infrastructure, buildings, building projects, mining projects, small infrastructure projects, and industrial projects. So this is the PDRA under 200 is considered as a below budget but above schedule. But above 200, it's considered as a over budget and uh, and beyond the schedule. So this is a good remember for the PDRA tool. So what is the breakdown for the PDR? The basis of the project decision, the basis of the design, and the execution approach. So during the front-end planning phases, so the PDRA, you can define the score for the feasibility approach, like the assessment point as one. So the range will be like 550 to 800, and the assessment point two, it's like 450 to 600, and 2I, it's 300 to 450, and the assessment point, it's like 3, it's like 150 to 250. Whenever this is a whenever the score is low, then the project is very better. And what are these 6 steps? Like for using the A3 model, like the read the description, collect relevant data, discuss and select definition level of each element, fill the tools as agreed, add up the element scores and take actions if required. So let's say you are categorizing the list, and if you want to determine based on the category, and you determine a score here. So if it's like the score you're getting like a 200, below 200, then it's like above budgets. So what is a scope change and scope creep? The scope change is agreed by all parties. The project is replanned, the schedule is adjusted, the budget is increased, and the scope creep, it's like an incremental process of change, which is observed into existing scope and done without approval. So what is value engineering? So value engineering is like a systematic approach for improving the project products and processes. So it is not a cutting exercises. The aim is to achieve the essential functions at the lower possible cost. Like the value engineering, like it determines like the you have to uh, uh, bring the bring the cost to the lowest possible by providing the essential function to the scope.